everybody, welcome back if so to another market update video here at Benefits Central. I'm Benjamin, and today Bitcoin and the S&P charts. But before I get right into the market, please leave a like, drop a comment, and if you can subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Honestly, the market is doing a very interesting move. Obviously, with a pivot, we saw XRP jump while everything else decided to tank. We do have a few things coming within this week, and I do have a very important video coming for you guys tomorrow, just covering a lot of things. Basically what the Fed has been doing, where we're going, predictions for 2022, the end of 2022, and then towards 2024. Just a bunch of predictions and a bunch of data reports that we should be expecting to receive here soon. But I did just want to update everybody just on what was happening within yesterday's charts, just because we did end up getting a unique close and open. Obviously, we are going to get a close today at around 5 to 6 for the daily. However, we did get this unique open and we did hold up above it. This is just another quick market update video for you guys. I'm not going to get into a crazy detail as we did yesterday. But honestly, it has been very, very interesting, obviously bouncing off of our descending channel. But now being in this massive consolidation zone where we triple bottom last time, we did come back down and retest it on the daily. However, looking on the weekly, we still are holding pretty well. We did get our new weekly as of yesterday for some reason. I did see that we did get that weekly open yesterday. However, we are getting the continuation for that open, obviously, for our new weekly. But finally getting some color here rather than just a doji that we had yesterday. As long as we can find some support, like I said, around these levels, lowest I really would be worried about would be around our last wick, which is around 17,641. I call that 17,500 just to be safe. You can do the exact just because it's the wick. But if we were to break below that, then honestly we are going to head much further, probably back down to our support. However, like I said, as long as we can find this W pattern and continue to hold this pattern, we should be able to round off the bottom, as we're oversold on mostly everything across the markets. But we can end up pivoting off of this and then finally getting in above the neckline, obviously. So around 23K would be your entry, your new entry, or anything above the 200 moving average, or if you caught a GBI or a bull 180 in the charts. But other than that, realistically, we do have our monthly, like I said, that we do realistically just need to continue back up if we can. Otherwise, we got rejected off our 50 moving average, and we will continue this GBI formation, this bearish formation to the downside. But other than that, realistically, that was just it for Bitcoin. We did have a crazy wick down just as we got below our 200 moving average on the 15-minute. However, going back to the charts, looking at Ethereum just to show you guys, the daily did end up forming a GBI and pushed us all the way back down, touching and hopefully triple bottoming at or forming a triple bottom, at 1400, which was great because we did this last time. If anything, we can get this triple bottom going here, or if we get a triple bottom formation here with these wicks, it does look very promising, honestly, that we are going to hold this 1400 level. Just as we crossed bearish, we ended up tanking fully and haven't broke through that just yet for the daily. We do have a few hours, unfortunately, till we can see whether this daily closes below our 1400 or above our 1500, or try to reverse back up, or if it stays above 1400. If it can, then honestly we are going to attempt to try to project back up or support to the upside. However, we are oversold, so that is more momentum obviously to the upside. However, I just don't like that we have a GBI tapping on the 1400 that can have a lot of strength to push us and break below it. But honestly, if you guys want to hop into a short, you do have a lot of momentum for you, except for being oversold. But other than that, realistically, you could hop in for a quick sell if we breach below 1400. As you guys saw in the 15-minute, we did close below our 200 moving averages and formed a double top in M. So that should be pushing us lower pretty quick. However, we were oversold on here, so we haven't breached that 1400 level just yet. However, looking at the weekly, you can tell that we are approaching that 200 moving average, which I don't believe that if we do break 1400, I don't believe that we will break the 200 moving average. It would create a higher low from our previous low. And we should bottom out at least right here around 1300 to 1250, I would say, if we wick below it, because that does happen as well. But other than that, realistically, we are getting very, very close to the descending channel, to the tip of the descending channel, where we are forced to make an option whether we pump to the upside or pump to the downside, which is going to be phenomenal for the markets, honestly. But we do just have to wait and see this fill out, and we're getting very, very close. But other than that, realistically looking at the month, we do have this RBI setup still. However, unfortunately, we only have like a week and a half left, almost 2 weeks. And I believe that if we cannot get a quick recovery off our 200 moving average, or if we break through all of that, and for the monthly we end up revisiting our 50 moving average at a at around 1200, then I do believe that we should get a quick recovery and then bounce to the upside. If not, and we decide to continue this bullish or bearish momentum to the downside, then I do believe that we will continue this GBI formation and continue us to the downside, unfortunately, to complete this head and shoulders pattern as well. A lot of people are saying that it's not completed. I'm saying it's completed. We bottomed out and are trying to continue. However, it realistically is up to this month to see how we close. We do have a lot of formations that can form out of this monthly close as long as we can wick and stay above. If we decide to continue to the downside and close to the downside, then it will obviously show that we have a lot more downside to come for the rest of the markets, and probably most likely for the rest of the year. But other than that, realistically, I'm going to dive into the S&P just real quick for you guys. Well, before the S&P, I'll dive into the dollar just to show you guys what is really realistically influencing the markets. We haven't gotten much momentum. Obviously, it's been Saturday and Sunday, but we will see the dollar and the S&P 500 open for Sunday between 5 to 6 for the new weekly coming in. However, as our daily, as we've seen, we've just been having a bunch of dojis and weak candles. Finally got that spike, probably most likely when Powell spoke. I believe that is when he spoke, actually, and the market did end up correcting much lower. However, we are getting a bit weaker, at least consolidating above our spike that we did last time. Looking at our weekly, we do have that weekly RBI, which can push us much further. However, that weekly is going to end, or ended last Friday, and we are going to get a new one opening here. And if it did close like that and we don't see any kind of adjustments from the aftermarkets, then that does look like a GBI formation in Acorn, and we can see this start to bottom out and at least try to, or top out and try to head to the downside for us with a GBI or an Acorn formation. However, looking at the monthly, there's not too much data for us to look at. However, we are massively oversold or overbought, and we have finally hit our 110 wicking, and then obviously coming back to support to see if we can continue to push up for the rest of the month. If we can't, then this will form a doji, and I believe that we should end up coming back down. Although for a pivot, and that's what I'm going to talk to you guys about in the next video, on tomorrow's video, is for a pivot for the Fed and for the market to occur, we do need several things to happen, two of many things to happen, and as well as the Fed to do a list of other things. I have a full video coming out tomorrow explaining everything in detail of what we need necessarily for the market to flip and for inflation to calm down and for them to stop raising rates technically. But other than that, realistically, that was realistically it for the dollar. Looking at the S&P 500, because we do have a new weekly coming. We did close with a doji, which is fine. Like I said, as long as they don't correct this with any aftermarket data, then that is a good close. Getting some rejection or some support from our 3800 level. However, looking at our weekly, we did close and get rejected off the top of our descending channel with a GBI pushing us much lower. However, we do have our 200 moving average down below, which is catching us at around 3600. Obviously, with this new weekly opening, we will see a move in the indicators. So we will see that it comes a little closer, maybe possibly above the 3600 level. However, looking at the monthly for the S&P 500, we do see that we did get that rejection from the top of the descending channel and headed to our 50 moving average, where we should bottom out at around 3500, 3550. Realistically, if we end up breaking the 3600 level, which is more reasonable, we would head to the next half. But other than that, realistically, if we can't get, like I said, this reversal within the next 2 weeks and try to attempt to at least false break this, or at least break it and close above it, then we won't get that RBI formation, and we actually will continue to the downside much further, unless this next month that we end up getting can create a pivot within the markets. Like I said, in tomorrow's video, I'll go over a lot more, just because we are getting to the tip of our descending channels that we've made in the market. So it will be quite interesting to see how we end up responding to that, especially especially with the news coming out and the CPI reports that we are receiving along the way of the ending of 2022. But other than that, realistically, we do have to just be careful with the events that are happening in the world, something with Korea and Russia, or not Korea and Russia, Korea and Russia, something about them tying in together and possibly threatening the United States. There's some threats about that could mess with the markets. Just several indicators that are coming this week and within this month and within this year that could possibly form the market to either pivot or head much lower. But other than that, realistically, that was just another quick market update video for you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ciao.